Because how do you create this with your own daughter? Consistency versus chaos. I touched over some of them, but I want to hone in now more just on you fathers. Are you creating a daughter that is used to chaos and not consistency? Do you not pick her up? Do you just drop her off over at somebody's house and be like, hey, just kind of ignore them? Do they not even know how you feel about them, let alone how you feel about anything else in life? Are you living a chaotic life that when she sees you, you're just whatever? I don't know what I'm doing today. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I certainly don't know what I'm doing next year. I don't know what's going on. A good green light to what did you keep from your dad and what would you do differently is if she has a nuanced view. I always say, I'm so glad I'm so glad God allowed me to live long enough for my son to see me as an older man, but now understand me as a man. Because now he understands a nuanced view of who I am. Dad's not perfect. And now, when you're growing up, that's the power, dads, you have in your home, that your kids look at you and your kids are like, wow, my dad's the strongest. My dad's the smartest. My dad's the blah. And your kids go on and on with who your dad is. But in reality, you know how insecure you are as a father. You know how insecure you are as a man. I bet you your wife does. Or your wife did know. But your kids don't know that. And so it's great that sometimes when a woman has not had a father in her life, she can even look back and be like, yeah, I understand what my dad did, what he did. I understand the relationship my father had with my mother. That she can have that nuanced view. That woman can have boundaries. That woman can have some boundaries. I'm going to just talk about this real quick because it does relate to body count. Look, let's tell the truth, shame the devil. A woman will spend more time looking for a car, vetting for a house, buying a wedding dress, all those things that if you ask her about her body, well, my body is special. Well, then why did you give it up so fast for some dude that you kicked it with for an hour in the bar? If your body's so special. And that's usually what pisses men off because it's like, wait a minute, now that you older, you celibate. We talked about this on the Roundtable show recently. Now that you older, you celibate. But if I would have came at you in 2025 when you were in college or when you was just hanging out after the work party, whatever, you wouldn't have had no problem letting me hit within a matter of minutes if you like me bad enough. But because you may find that this woman never really learned boundaries and she never really learned them from her dad because her dad never even taught her that lesson. So she had to discover the value of her body, quote unquote, later on in life. And I remember when I was going to counseling and back in my married days, and I was saying, it amazes me that women will often brag about some of the things that they did in their past. She said, well, Devin, just because a woman acts like she enjoys that doesn't mean that she actually did. And I'm like, as a dude, you sound bat crap crazy saying that. Because just because I acted like I liked driving that car doesn't mean I actually did. Hey guys, just because I like making that 10-second pass in the quarter mile doesn't mean that I actually did. Just because y'all saw me jump around when I deadlifted 500 pounds and you thought I was happy doesn't mean I actually was. For a guy, that doesn't make any sense. But as a woman, she was explaining this to me, and I kind of got it. My logical side didn't get it. But what she was really speaking to was also a woman's lack of boundaries and regret that she later has. And she often has that because she didn't learn it from dad at home, even mom. But we're talking about dads now. And can she apologize and accept change? If she can, great green light. But you want some yellow and red lights? Woo, black and white mentality. I'm going to tell you, they talk about a narcissistic personality. A woman that has a black and white personality, you better run, Forrest. You better run. Because the bad part about that is if everyone is either a saint or a villain, they have that black and white mentality, which goes to show they got some repairing to do and they don't know how to do it. It's all disjointed. That chaos that they have in their life is on repeat. They have that chaos with everybody in their life. It goes back really to loyalty wounds, because I find that when a woman says, I can't have women as friends, it's like, you can't have women as friends. Why not? Well, because women are catty. Well, again, when you get my age as an OG, you realize when she says that, she's probably the catty one. She's probably the one that keeps the confusion going on. So that kind of chaos, that's not only that chaos she has with her man, it's also the chaos she has even with other friendships. bad conflict resolution. She can't repair relationships, and she takes no ownership for the role that she plays and what she has going on. If she can't apologize, run. Again, those are things you should be paying attention to. Now, I'm going to go over these 5 things quickly, specifically now to you dads, because how do you create this with your own daughter? Consistency versus chaos. I touched over some of them, but I want to hone in now more just on you fathers. Are you creating a daughter that is used to chaos and not consistency? Do you not pick her up? Do you just drop her off over at somebody's house and be like, hey, just kind of ignore them? Do they not even know how you feel about them, let alone how you feel about anything else in life? Are you living a chaotic life that when she sees you, you're just whatever? Well, I don't know what I'm doing today. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I certainly don't know what I'm doing next year. I don't know what's going on. Then again, what do you expect when you run into a woman out here in the dating game that's the pattern she's used to? So when you meet her dating, you're like, well, I'm dating again after marriage, and what do you have going on? And she has that armor up because she's like, nope, this guy couldn't even choose where we were going out at. This guy couldn't lead in any way. I asked him, where do you want to meet? And he was like, well, I don't know what's good for you. I mean, those things, she's like, this is reminiscent and reflective of what I went through with my own father at home. I don't have time for that. And you mad at her. No, it's because you remind her of her father. Respect scripts. What are you doing with your own daughter with respect? What are you teaching her about how to handle disagreement in the home? Are you going upside mama's head? Are you yelling at mama? Do you fly off the handle? Are you more emotional than she is that 1 week during her period? Are you the dude that need the tampon? Because you all over the place. If so, are you the one crying? Now, you could be crying because your testosterone needs to be checked. That could be one of the things. But are you the dude that's crying? That's why you should get your testosterone checked. Got a video on that on the channel too. Go check out Join Iron Father at YouTube. So are you that guy? Because if you are flying off the handle and so emotional, then again, emotion is cool for a woman. Hey, you bringing nothing but emotion, heat, and energy to a woman's relationship, you gonna get that. That's why reality shows bring that. They know how to get that going with women. You are supposed to be the stable one with that woman in the relationship. So how you look always going off because her mama said something, or you mad at the daughter, and we're not talking about not having boundaries. We're talking about you being emotional and respect. Do you apologize to your daughter if you're wrong? Do you show her that you can re-enter and not hold a grudge and an attitude? Do you show good problem solving with your kids? Or do you give your kids the silent treatment? If they do something you don't like, you isolate them. I ain't talking to them. Are you still as old as you are not talking to your kids because they said something you didn't like? So you be like, nope, I'm not talking to them no more. I disown them. Do you publicly shame your kids? Do you low-key have contempt for your kids, especially if they're older? Is this what you're creating in your own daughter? Then what are you setting her up for? What script are you giving her to run onto in her future relationships? Then we go to money. Well, hey, are you paying your child support? Gotta ask. Hey, as a dude, I've been there. Fellas, look, I've been there. I know the game on child support. I'm gonna do a video on that pretty soon. I get it. It's not easy. It's not comfortable. But if you're divorced, about to be divorced, and you're like, I'm gonna do it on my own. Good luck with that. Are you setting up a situation where your child feels so insecure financially because you like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm mad at her mama. Her mama's this, that, and the third. I'm not giving them nothing. Then are you teaching your daughter to be very insecure? And then you wonder why the women you run into now in the dating world are like, well, no, a romance with no finance is a damn nuisance, as old Big Daddy Kane used to say. And you wonder why women are that way? Well, what role are you playing with your own daughter in creating her that way? Does she feel insecure? Has daddy been able to provide for her? Has daddy been able to put a roof over her head? Has she seen daddy being willing to do everything he could to go ahead and take care of his family? If not, then don't worry, you're going to end up running into that as well when you get older. Because you're going to run into women that's going to have that same insecurity. And you wonder why she pocket watching you. You're creating your daughter to pocket watch a whole bunch of people in the future as well. Oh, big one here, man. Loyalty. What kind of loyalty is your daughter seeing that you have? I'm definitely not gonna say you staying with their mom proves loyalty. No way, no how. Because you staying with your mom, and this is definitely my view. I'm not gonna be in any relationship that actually shows that I don't have boundaries. Because see, my boundaries demand loyalty to me or to the relationship. So I'm not going to say, oh, well, if you didn't stay with the mom, that shows you aren't loyal. Well, let fight that out with the other OGs that are like, no matter what happened, no matter whether she cheated on me or I cheat on her, we still together. Y'all knock yourselves out because I don't view marriage as a life insurance policy. If it is, sell it that way. Don't sell it on love. Sell it as a life insurance policy. Well, we getting married because I want somebody to take care of me when I get older. Okay, fine. I hope y'all go into it with that. But the main point is that loyalty that you need to have to your daughters, that she sees you building a relationship with her, regardless of the relationship that you have with her mother. This is the relationship you have with her, and you're loyal to that. When I got divorced, the first thing I did is start making appointments with my daughters for us to meet at least on a monthly basis. They were out of the house. One had already been out of the house for 4 years, but daddy is still here for you because I'm still dad. And I'm still here for you. And if anything, as I told them, I can now show up even more fully than I was able to before because I didn't want to bring my kids all into that mess. And now it was like, now you really get to see the real dad. As I said, now you get to know Dev. Now you get to know Dev instead of just seeing me as dad, as a father. But I recognize that even though my daughters are now, pushing 20, they were adults, they still needed me there. I want to still be there for them emotionally. I want to still be loyal to them, that they don't think because I'm no longer with their mother, well, peace to them too. And I know it's easier for me to say because my daughters are older, but a lot of you guys, you got a 6-year-old daughter, a 3-year-old daughter, a 12-year-old daughter, a 15-year-old daughter, and you are about to leave that daughter alone in the house with her mother. Let me tell you, what do I always say? Children see the father through the eyes and the lens of the mom. If that's already happening by default anyway, how much more are you going to participate in the clouding of that glass or the development of that glass by you not being loyal to your daughter and being there for her at a time she needs you most when you're not with her mother anymore? Did you leave her at the same time you left her mama? What does she have to do with that? Nothing. So be loyal to her because you are now in the dating world running into women that now have not had a father that was loyal to them. How do you like it? So again, we complain about this crazy dating world out here. Just know it was probably some dude that's responsible for the old chick you running into now. And for you younger ones, there's a father that's partially responsible for her being on OF right now. So, and again, her body, her choice. I ain't shaming. Look good doing it. Great. But my point is, we know that as a man, those things are still important. Repair capacity. Dad, what did you learn from your father? And are you teaching your daughter to not have boundaries? Do you give her everything she wants? Do you make her spoil daddy's little girl? For a lot of you baby boomer guys, I just told my father recently, in terms of economic prosperity, I know we say the greatest generation is the generation of World War II. But I think the baby boomer generation may be the greatest economic generation that we've had in the United States of America. And so the days of a man only having a high school or junior high even education and still being able to live a good life, solid middle class, and then retire with a pension, those days are long gone. So just because you did that with your family and then you turn around and be like, a guy has to be able to provide the way I did for my daughter, you better understand, sir, you living in some different times. You living in some different times. And if your butt didn't want to go to school back in the day, then what makes you think every man that comes into your daughter life now is going to have a 4-year degree? The question is, you should be asking yourself, is what other things? First, you can almost ask these questions about a guy, but you should be looking at these other intangibles that this man is bringing in that, you are really saying, I only had a high school diploma or less than that, or GED, or maybe I didn't graduate. Does he have the same tenacity? Does he have the same commitment that I have? And so many times we don't even give our daughters that nuanced view. It's just, he needs to make X amount and he needs to be this guy in order to be with my daughter. Does he? Because you probably weren't that when you got with her mama. So are you teaching her to not have a nuanced view? Are you teaching her that there are good guys and there are bad guys? Because any man, when you get my age, you already know she gonna want that thug in love, and odds are she gonna have plenty of fun with the bad guys. And as they say, Sheryl Sandberg told the women to go out and do that, and she's gonna do it by default. Are you teaching her nothing but chaos and a repeat of that? The same drama that your daughter may have watched in the house growing up, does she now see that in the life that she has, even with you being older? Is it still nothing but chaos? Does your daughter still like, I don't want to say nothing to my father? Props to my uncle. My uncle has been a mentor to me in so many different areas. And to watch the relationship he has with his daughters, that's one I aspire to. I hope you have a man that's modeling that for you, that close relationship with your daughters, that she sees no matter what happens in my dad's life, he can apologize, he can adapt, he can change. He doesn't view me as bad. Because a lot of girls, you want to know, how do you feel, dads, especially you religious cats? Your daughter did that purity ring thing. Y'all remember back in the 90s, 2000s? It was a big popular thing for girls to go get that purity ring. How do you feel when you found out she got nailed on prom night? How you feel when you found out that she had that dude sleeping with her up in her dorm? Did you put her on ice? Did you not talk to her anymore? Did you be like, oh, I'm done with you? What did you do? Did you show you don't even have an ability to repair? When she didn't turn out to be the exact woman you wanted her to be, she may have lived with a guy when that was against your rules. Were you able to show her that, but you're still my daughter and I love you? Maybe I apologize. Maybe I do have some boundaries, and maybe some things you can't do, but you're my daughter and I love you. We still got this relationship. If she sees you never taking any ownership for the mistakes you made, that's what you're preparing a daughter that eventually she's going to run into a guy and she's going to have those same red and yellow flags I just talked about above.